Hello again, Struck12. Today I'm bringing you a video about Undecember. As I promised, I want to make a video with all the information that you may need to know ahead of the launch of the game that I could gather up until this moment, up until the end of last year. So hopefully they release some more information about the game, but I think they've released plenty, and since they're planning on starting the Korean mobile test this month on the 13th of January, I think we know enough. But again, hopefully this video helps you figure out whether you want to be excited about the game or not, because there are some controversial things about the game that maybe some of you may not know, because they have only been announced in a Korean video with English subtitles though. So buckle up and I hope you enjoy the video. Let's go. First, let's talk about the general premise of the game. What the struck is Undecember. What is Undecember? Undecember is a modern RPG with hack and slash elements, fast-paced combat, and it will be released simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but it will be released and work cross-platform with cross-saves on PC and mobile. The planned platforms are Android, iOS, 4, which I think is a Korean mobile games platform, and PC. With PC, I'm not sure if it will be Steam, but I know there will be Steam for sure. But whether it will be Steam only, I cannot confirm. For all we know, they might end up having their own launcher, they might end up having Epic launcher, who knows, but it will definitely be on Steam in Q1 2022. The background of the game is that it says something like the birth of the 13th being, evil god serpents. Normally in many Korean webtoons and manga and web novels, they use constellations, and the 12 constellations are the standard ones we know from the Zodiac, and then the 13th one is a snake-like creature. I think they're using this type of mythology. In the beginning, there were 12 beings that rose from the void, who shared their power to create Traum and lived peacefully amongst their descendants. All was harmonious, and the descendants prospered under the blessings of the 12 beings who were now worshipped as gods. But one day an unexpected 13th being, evil god serpents, creeped out from the shadows of the 12 gods. So they're kind of adapting these 12 constellations, 12 zodiac things, and making it into the 12 gods, 12 good beings, and the 13th being the evil one, the snake-like one. This is kind of okay, standard regular story. You have to sacrifice to return to the void to stop the evil god from disrupting the balance of the world and corrupting their descendants. In the darkness, the 12 gods shared their runes and essences infused by their powers with their descendants in order to smite down evil. Unfortunately, their efforts failed. In the end, the 12 gods agreed to join as one and revert back to the void along with serpents. The unstable piece was recovered, and rising darkness from the unstable piece became a thing. However, no one realized that the return of divinity would also bring back the evil that was lurking back in the shadows. This is shortly a little description I'm reading from the website. I mean, I skipped some bits, but I try to give you some of the general thing about the background and the story. Now let's talk a little bit about the ideology, the philosophy behind the game. The developers are using some fancy words, trying to make the game seem good because they're trying to sell you. So in some cases I will be quoting verbatim. But let's start with this. Breaking out of the typical class frames for a classless system similar to Wolsen is what I would say here. Undecember gives players the freedom to create diverse builds via its runes, which is the skills system, and the passive skill tree system, which is the Zodiac. First, the game was developed on mobile devices, which is phones and tablets, which meant lower visual quality than expected for a PC game. Based on early testers' feedback, the devs decided to design a more suitable gaming environment for each platform. Separating the resources on PC and mobile ensures that the graphics and the UI are optimized for a PC environment. Various other improvements were added, such as increased field of view radius after some beta tester feedback, lowered skill reuse delay, system improvements for smoother movement, and increased accuracy when targeting enemies. The base movement speed was also has also been increased, and controller support is also planned. Not implemented, but it is planned. Whether it will launch with it or not, I cannot confirm. Many things were rebalanced as well. Runes and gold drops were rebalanced based on player feedback to allow players to have access to more diverse builds. The gold cost for Enchanting was completely removed so that players can focus purely on becoming stronger through enchants. I'm not sure what they mean by players can focus purely on becoming stronger through enchants. It seems like maybe mistranslation on YouTube, who knows. Now let's talk about the skill system, or so-called skill runes and link runes system. There will be various skill runes that players will find throughout their playthrough and while running endgame. And every skill rune is in the shape of a hexagon. That means it has 6 sides, and on those sides, based on the color of the side, you can connect or link runes. So link runes are kind of like support skills. So if you have skill A being a fireball, you can have a link rune that increases the damage, increases the projectile speed, increases the number of projectiles, maybe adds an explosion, maybe adds burning, whatever, things like that. So each skill would have up to 6 link runes. So each skill rune will be able to connect up to 6 link runes that modify the behavior of this skill. So similar to Torchlight Infinite, they're using kind of that system. Pick a skill and modify it with 6 support skills, kind of like that. It's a fun system. It's a very well thought out of system that allows some nice tweaking and improvisation there to make a build that adopts a playstyle that suits your needs and your preferred way of playing the game. The other system is the passive skill tree. Let's talk about that now. The Zodiac tree, which is pretty much similar to the devotions in Grim Dawn. There's various constellations which you have to select. It's your typical passive skill tree. Similar to Path of Exile skill tree, but not as complicated. Similar to Wilson's, not as complicated. I think it really looks like Grim Dawn's constellations, with the one thing that at the beginning you have to choose, kind of like in Grim Dawn, you have to choose where you allocate the first few points, and from there you would start unlocking new constellations and eventually invest into those constellations. What exactly will be in those skill trees in terms of stats boost, I cannot tell you, but my guess is there will be all sorts of things such as procs, such as passive stat boosts, strength, intelligence, etc., whatever stats the game has. But this will be an important component of a player's build. Hopefully respecking is free, if not free, reasonably priced for that system. It has a lot of potential when you combine it with the rune system and the gears, so definitely something that people shouldn't ignore. Now let's quickly mention some of the things about the gear system that the game has announced and shown to us. One of them is the use of essences. There's various types of essences, and with those you would be able to change the affixes or so-called options on an item, and the grade of items, meaning from normal you can upgrade an item to magic. I haven't seen in action if it's possible to upgrade magic further, but most likely that's the case. You would assume you would be able to take an item that's normal, turn it into magic, turn it into whatever comes next, maybe epic, turn it into legendary, and so on. And there's also options to reroll the affixes. So if you make a normal item into magic, as they've shown in one of the videos, you can then take another essence, which is called birth magic essence, and this will randomly re-imbue the options options on a magic item. So there's various types of essences, and players would be able to use them to modify the gear in the way they want. Enchanting is something that, as I mentioned, they've improved and removed the cost of gold. And in order to enchant, all you need will be materials, and you can dismantle items you don't need for materials that can be used for enchanting. And enchanting will be a major source of power for the gear, for major source of I guess upgrading your items, so you can do more enchanting. So you don't need an item, you take that item apart, you get some essences and use those essences to min-max your items by rerolling their affixes and by upgrading shit items into good items and so on. Simple, straightforward, and a good made system, very decent system. Now there are several other things I'd like to mention about the content. Some of this would be me reading verbatim the subtitles on the YouTube video, others would be me adding my opinion there. They're saying that Undecember is based upon a world that is divided into episodes. Upon launch, the game will unlock the content of episodes 1 and 2. There are many stories that will make the players question the meaning of evil. That would be the main campaign. So we will experience episode 1 and 2 of the campaign, and as the game patches, we will receive new episodes probably every 2-3 months. There will be a new season with a new episode of the story, and so on. The endgame content of Undecember is called Chaos Dungeon, or the main endgame content. It can be entered by using an item called Chaos Cards, and Chaos Cards are different, and they have different affixes or options which will increase the difficulty of each dungeon. So the rewards are determined based on the card's tier, grade, options/affixes, and mission. Defeating stronger monsters will reward players rare wood, and it also allows players to experience the thrill of improving their rune hunter, as the devs are calling it. Keep in mind that there is also another type of content, not sure if it will be as rewarding as the Chaos Dungeon, but it's the defense mode called Spire of Barrier. They didn't provide much information, but most likely, based on what I'm seeing on the screen when they talk about it, there will be a spire that you need to defend from waves of monsters in one place, similar to probably the Crucible in Grim Dawn. There will also be PvP battles at the Crusade of Glory, as well as a competition, a guild competition through the guild battleground. There will also be a raid where players create a large group to defeat giant bosses. The devs also say that they've prepared a lot of endgame and community content, and that unlike typical daily quests homework, this is me quoting, they've prepared diverse content for users to enjoy through all stages of the game. I definitely don't like the daily quest fear of missing out, do your homework every day system, so hopefully they really don't have such things. We'll see how that works out, and in a moment you'll see some of the bad stuff once we talk about them. So the maximum level will be 100, and the main campaign will offer a total of 10 acts. The game will launch with 240 runes, which is a combination of skill runes and link runes, so 240 total skill and link runes, and up to tier 11 Chaos Dungeons as endgame. This already tells me that there will be constant increases of this, constant power creep, typical like Diablo 3, like Warhammer Chaos Bane. I'm not a fan of them constantly pushing the difficulty, pushing the level cap and so on, and making me farm the same items just with better stats all over again every few months. But okay, there will be also 60 normal dungeons and 5 boss dungeons, and most of the key content will be available on launch except for the Guild Battleground, which they did not specify when it will come, but most likely with the first major update or expansion. Speaking of content and expansions and updates, there will be two major types of updates as additional content. So one will be the additional content as they're saying it, I'm quoting here, and the other will be expansions. So I'm assuming the bigger expansions will be every 2-3 months, like or maybe every 6 months, who knows, a big expansion with maybe a new chapter, new episode of the story. Whereas the other additional content will be probably just regular. They're saying additional content will be added horizontally, whatever they mean by that, I can only guess. They're saying that new skill rooms, link rooms, dungeons and more will be added along with the challenge content, in which players can experience growth and various co-op and competitive content to enjoy based on different rules. The way they're talking about challenge content makes me think that every season will be a challenge, and that will be their seasons, their leagues. So every few months there will be a new challenge with new features, new mechanics to adapt to. Maybe this is just me guessing there. And they're saying that expansions will be added vertically, whatever they mean by vertically. Again. They're saying that expansions will bring new scenarios, a higher level and gear caps, again the annoying power creep, which I don't know who even likes that shit, but probably some people do. There will also be growth stages, so growth stages will be added in expansions. So new scenarios, higher level and gear caps, and growth stages. Expansions will also refine previous content and connect it to the new content to keep it viable through the expansions. So they would make it so that new content doesn't overperform or overshadow or whatever the old one, and they would make some connections between the new and the old and make you revisit the old content, which is a good idea, good philosophy there. And they're saying that along with various challenges that will make the existing ones more difficult, various growth elements will also be prepared to match each challenge. So my guess is again that this might be their season system, and every expansion probably would be a new challenge, new season, and since the challenge will make certain things more difficult, there will be probably new ways of growing your character to match this type of challenge for that specific season. We'll see. Again, they're very vague when talking about this. And here I wanna talk a little bit about their business model. First of all, they mentioned that all content is accessible and can be completed through normal gameplay. And here comes me quoting verbatim from the subtitles, from the translation of the Korean text. Not all players have the same playstyle, so we're working on a business model that doesn't stray too far from the essence of the game. The most basic areas, convenience and looks, will be part of our business model. Already at starting bet with convenience, if only it was just looks. Features such as storage, inventory, again, costume and appearance of portals do not directly affect battles. Yes, but still. But they increase satisfaction and convenience. And again, it's the same bullshit predatory way of designing monetization by creating an inconvenience and selling players the resolution, the magical solution to this inconvenience. So we know players will suffer from some inconvenience, but we want to charge them. We don't want to give them the solution for free because we don't think they deserve it for free. We think they need to pay us for the quality of life. Monetizing quality of life, one of the worst things developers have come up with. Okay, so they're also continuing here, and even the pets that were reviewed in the UBT, which is some beta test, have been designed in regards to convenience, except the stats. I'm not sure what they mean with pets designed for convenience and what they mean with accept the stats. But we'll see about that. I'm assuming they mean that the stats of those pets that you can get are no different than the ones you can get for free, except that those would provide you with more convenience. But what is this more convenience? If it saves you time, then it's pay to win in my opinion. If it saves you farming time, grinding time, it is pay to win. If it lets you store more things and trade more things and make more money, it is pay to win. But again, this is just my zero tolerance to convenience. I only tolerate cosmetic stuff. And many people don't think that, and fanboys will be fanboys. They're open to criticize this video or whatever as much as they want, but this is my opinion and I'm free to share it. Products that increase the value of gameplay, like battle passes in a manual combos focused game like Undecember. Battle passes will aid in making time invested in gameplay more meaningful. Not sure what they mean by that. They didn't specify much about the battle pass. I'm never a fan of battle passes, but there are ways to make a battle pass well, and that is to make it so that regardless of what content you do, you keep earning experience towards the battle pass and leveling it up. And a battle pass system that is good for me has 0 stages where a free player gets no rewards, and has 0 stages where a player that is doing the paid part of the battle pass, if there is a separation between free and paid battle pass stages. In the paid one, there should be only cosmetics. If you want to give people gold resources of any type, convenience items, everyone should get them in the free version, not in the paid one. But again, most likely that won't be the case, because that never is the case with those games. And now, the auction house. The devs are describing the auction house in the following way. The auction house is an important feature that creates and facilitates the trade of goods. All players can acquire items necessary for growth through the auction house, and through the circulating economy, the auction house will play a role in providing more paths to experiment with various builds. What I've noticed is the currency used to trade in the auction house is those red crystals. I am not sure if those red crystals people can obtain by playing. I don't know how it is here. Hopefully this is not how I think it is. Hopefully this is not the cash shop currency. Just like in Mad World, you can sell items you find in the game for cash shop currency, and people who have deep pockets can just buy that cash shop currency and buy the best items and enchant materials and whatever in the game to get an advantage. But in a game like this, there are a lot of things that just don't sit well with me. But the auction house in general is a good thing in a game. I prefer auction houses instead of free trading, opening a trade window and so on, because in a way it eliminates to a certain degree a gray market and people selling items for your money. But if they handle it like Mad World, where you can buy crystals and then use those crystals to buy whatever you want from the auction house, it's not great. Even though people who never paid a single dollar or single euro, whatever, single one, even though people like that can sell items and make crystals and then buy other stuff, people who have deeper pockets will obviously have an advantage and progress quicker and get the best gear much quicker. And when it comes to competitive modes, especially PvP competitive, people with deeper pockets will always have the best gear and the better gear, and when there's something new, they will be the first one to get it, and which would give them some extra points in the competition, some extra rankings in the competition before others catch up to them in terms of gear. That is if they don't make the PvP gear equalized, like Guild Wars 2 structured PvP. Now, what is my summary? What is my take on all of this? I would say most people shouldn't bother with even testing the game, but it's free to play, so if you feel like playing something new and you don't have anything better to play, this is not a terrible choice. I personally wouldn't play it if there weren't people in my community who are interested in the game, and probably I will play it, finish the whole story, test the end game and be done with it, because I do not want to support a game with predatory, create the inconvenience, sell the solution mechanics, and in general I just don't like some of the philosophies behind their payment business model. I don't like people who sell anything that is not a costume, that is not a skin, be it a convenience item, which is again just a mild way of saying providing players an advantage over others one way or another. Again, this is just my own philosophy. You're free to agree or disagree with it. It's the internet. Everyone can say whatever they want, regardless whether you agree or not, as long as they're not offensive. And yeah, I think the game is not terrible, but it's not gonna be the next best thing. It's Diablo Immortal meets Wolcen. Whether this will have the whack of success like Wolcen did, because Wolcen had a great success in terms of sales. Many people bought the game, many people were playing in the beginning, but in the end the game died out and there's not that many people playing it nowadays because of bad design. Hopefully this game balances out the costs of respecing. Hopefully the game is fun in spite of the convenience bullshit in the store. Hopefully if people don't care about PvP and just want to enjoy PvE and making PvE builds and grind and farm wood, the experience and drop rates are reasonable. I do not want to play yet another game where it takes more than 30-40 hours to reach max level. Since this game has 100 levels, I doubt this game would be something that you would be able to reach max level that quickly. Most likely people will need to play for a month to reach max level of several hours a day, most likely. And that's not my kind of game, so most likely I won't even reach max level. I'm just gonna complete the story, all 10 acts, and be done with it. Again, hopefully this video was helpful to everyone, and hopefully my input it's something that even if you disagree, you understand why I think in the way I do. If you want to get notified when I upload more content like this for this game or others like it, such as build videos, guides, infos, news, etc., all types of content for Wooter and not so Wooter games, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the bell button and not miss out notifications when I upload. Additionally, there's memberships, which is a monthly recurring payment that can be cancelled that grants members access to exclusive emotes and badges that were made by me. And optionally, if you're a member, you can contact me on Discord and request some basic tutorials for editing in Photoshop, in Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere. Keep it cool, Struck Club. Thanks for watching all the way until the end. Until next time, and goodbye.